Hey brother, Stuart Matola, men's relationship coach here. Hope you're having a kick-ass day. I'm going to talk to you in this video about being enmeshed with a woman who has unresolved trauma. Enmeshed, your life is tied together. Maybe you're married, chances are you are. You're codependent, or you fear hurting her. If she has unresolved trauma, you're going to see a lot of enactments. They call them traumatic reenactments. She blows up, she loses her shit, she freaks out. She doesn't know how to emotionally regulate. And that is one of the key things here. Now, the thing is, you can understand it in your mind, but it's much harder to get unenmeshed because there's a part of you that, for your growth, got involved with that in the first place. I know that firsthand myself. That was my pattern. There is a chance, too, that she just withdraws and retreats. But on both sides of the equation, whether she's aggressive or passive, is a woman who doesn't know how to speak her needs. Who doesn't, or if she does, she speaks of them in like an overstated way, histrionic, or she draws a hard line and then she regrets it later. Or she never draws a line. And you're like, who the fuck is there? It's often been said it's very lonely to be in a relationship with a person who does not speak their wants and needs. Now, chances are she's having the same experience on her side as well. And you may very well have unresolved trauma yourself, but, you know, us fucking dudes, we don't like to talk about that shit. But there are ways of dealing with it in a physical realm, working with the body. So it's not even so much you got to go to a ton of psychology or, you know, psychotherapists. It's stuff that you can work with. And it is great to work with a trauma therapist as well. And ideally, your partner would be conscious enough where she would do that as well. But with a lot of the symptoms I described and the type of guys that I talk to, this is very common, this unresolved trauma piece. It's part of why a man would struggle to get unenmeshed from a woman who has unresolved trauma. Now, he doesn't need the fancy language, but it would just be a man who has enough self-respect to not take on that kind of abuse or take on those poor behaviors. And furthermore, to not be enmeshed thinking that it's his fault that those behaviors are occurring, or somehow he's failing her, or he's, you know, she doesn't think he's a good guy, or he has the fear that she doesn't think he's a good guy. So what do you fucking do about that? Well, you go see a trauma therapist. Check out Somatic Experiencing, Peter Levine. Learn about the polar bear video, National Geographic. It's Peter Levine's work. I'll give you the snapshot. The polar bear is being chased by the helicopter. Like, the helicopter's hovering like 20 feet over this fucking thing. It's just rocking on the iceberg, trying to escape. But it's in panic. But you don't really see it because it's a polar bear, so it's just running as fast as it can. And they shoot it with the dart. They tranquilize it. I don't know, an hour or two past or whatever. When the bear comes out of the tranquilized state, it's literally lying on the ground. It does all this shaking like for a minute or two. And what it's doing is it's discharging the trauma that it experienced. Now, humans, we don't do that, so shit gets stuck in the body. If you want to learn more, that's one of the topics I cover in my men's relationship tools calls. I'll leave a link to that below. And you can always ask me on a call, say, hey, Stuart, let's talk about, can you talk a little bit about that trauma stuff? It's heavy shit, brother, but I want to say that you're not alone. You don't have to go it alone. There's other men dealing with this. And the tribe of men that I'm building, we are talking about this shit. We're understanding about the condition versus the shame of the condition. You separate those two. Much easier to work in the condition and much easier to get into your bold, free, confident, powerful self. I mean, that's the key to unleashing that part of you. And that's what I want for you ultimately, to be free in your spirit, in your body, in your mind, in your heart. So if this was helpful and you dug it, please give me a thumbs up, like me on this platform, leave a comment below. If you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe to the lower right and click that little bell to get weekly notifications. Thanks so much for watching, brother. Have a kick-ass day. Bye.